Okay, so I guess we'll call this meeting to order, on Thursday, January 11th. Tree Council. So who's here? If we go around the table.
Jeff Corbin.
Carol Carey.
Linda Choquetti, Amanda Machuzer.
Laura Robertson.
John Moore.
We're hoping to have Leo join us online. We'll see if he makes it.
All right, so the minutes, any comments on the minutes?
I just had one to elaborate in the discussion about the Balltown Road property. It says in the minutes that I suggested a change. I thought we could actually put in what my suggestion was.
Oh, we could do that.
Fine.
45. Mr. Corbin suggested that we swap little blue stem for the fountain grass. In the sharing.
Leo.
Is he there?
Yeah, he'll be here. Unless he's having connection. There he
There he
is.
is.
Hi, Leo.
Hello, Leo. Hey, Leo.
It was. What happened? Let's see. Oh, there. Okay. Hey.
All right. So we're going over the minutes right now. See if there's any changes.
Okay.
Anyone else? I had some really small things. Line 37, the last word parcels, I think should be spelled CELS. It switched the E and the L. 37. Yeah. And then it's just a question of capitalization. Lines 30 and 32. I think spring should be capitalized. And then in the reverse direction, line 74, should planning and planning projects be capitalized? That seems weird to me to be capital there.
It's not the planning department.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, that shouldn't be capitalized.
Yeah. And that's it. Anyone else? Anything?
Move to accept.
Yeah, I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. All right. Privilege of the floor. Anything?
I didn't get anything from anybody.
All right. New business.
Where's the right time for me to kind of, because my wife will ask as soon as I walk in the door about the co-op landscaping. I kind of sprung that on us at the very end.
Yeah. It is, and I had forgotten about it until I read the minutes for this meeting. But I think what the next steps for that is for me to just reach out to Metroplex and see what their appetite would be to do that. I have talked to them in the past about it. So I think they're the first place for us to reach out.
Sounds good.
And then if they won't do it, then we could see if maybe we could use some of our tree budget or something to do it.
And I know in some cases, like when we worked for GE, went after 9/11, we bought these big, huge concrete planters that were also kind of a security measure for people not, being able to
Yeah.
run into, and then they were.
Pedestrians.
Exactly. So,
They just put those benches in. Nobody's going to sit in them in the summer because it'll be 110 without any shade.
You guys don't realize it, but the minutes I give Laura are black with a lot of red in it.
That's exactly what it's supposed to
oh,
do.
so you're supposed to.
Three council on letters to go out.
There's a color coded.
Yeah, all the things that I was supposed to remind her to do, and I totally forgot to.
Whoa. Yeah, no, I really think we that would be it's nice the way it is, but if it had trees, that,
Kind of unlike us to
I
put
know.
anything down in landscape.
oh no, I asked them to do that. They they were so focused on this. I asked the county actually to do the trees, yeah, but they were so focused on like, they had a lot of controversy with that parking spaces and where they're gonna go, and they didn't have all of the owners on board. And so every time I brought up trees, it just got shoved to the wayside. But
Do you think Metroplex would actually jackhammer up some of the concrete and put in real trees?
I mean, I've also asked about that, because it would be better,
Yeah.
but you'd have to also install you'd have to jackhammer up some of the concrete and then actually excavate down and do some kind of a tree pit. Yeah, but, maybe, I mean,
Probably pipes and stuff.
they actually, like, they're still working out who owns and maintains it. So, like, they're still working out who's gonna plow the snow and where's it gonna go. So I think that's another hard thing for like, what, if we put trees there, who's gonna maintain them and where they're gonna, like, it's still a little bit of a moving target, but I think asking them again, because when I've talked to them about trees, I don't think I've run into somebody who thinks it's a bad idea. It's just a question of like how and who pays for it, and you know,
Mhm.
That
gonna happen.
yeah. But if we keep talking about it and we keep bringing it up and talking to people that we know about it, it's helpful, because then it's always in the back of their mind.
Are the businesses like Co-op and Broken In, are those worth talking to?
Yeah, well, interestingly, the Broken In put those barriers, and then he put the containers over the barriers
On the-
on the Crescent side, and that's supposed to be planted. He just didn't end up planting it this year, but that's supposed to have plants. So that might get greener on that side, but he doesn't really wrap around to the other side. All of that street furniture that got put in this fall was from Metroplex.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
I just meant like would they be advocates for having a greener looking front?
and having them act with us too.
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We could have,
We want to task people to look into that. I'd be happy to.
yeah. I am going to meet, does anybody know if Sarah Volosky's still like the president of COA? Does anybody know that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna meet with her soon, so I can ask her about how to get support from the co-op. Does anybody have any ties to the Broken In or any of the other businesses?
We see Greg all the time. So the
Yeah,
Knott Street
he's the
office.
owner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's in Gail's building, but even so, if we could get him.
Yeah, it's Gail that you have to talk to.
If you can get Greg on your side, that would be good.
Yeah, next door neighbor's good friends with the person who's that empty building. It used to be.
Oh,
house.
the Miss Bobby?
It's Shannon.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Recently.
She's
They do
the
know
general
really good.
manager, but he might not be.
but it'd still be good if we can get on there.
Director.
That's the reason.
So like street that we
Yeah,
had
it
Carol.
would- it would be good.
The
You
president.
might get in here.
Yeah, I know.
Jen Greenwood and Carolyn Thompson are co-chair of the board of directors.
We can definitely ask Beth.
Yeah,
She,
I know, I'm good friends with Carolyn.
oh, really? Okay, well, let's both ask. Mhm. Yeah, let's start a network of people who want food up there.
Try to find out who to talk to at Broken In.
Ryan Cox is the treasurer, isn't he?
The owners are the Pharmacy Brothers, whose name is escaping me right now,
Where's the what?
of the
The building?
building and the Broken In.
Oh,
The
okay.
Pharmacy
All right.
Brothers are the owners.
Okay, but I know them well.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I mean, from going
Yeah.
there, so.
They're the actual owners, and then, you know, if there's, if we know somebody who's a neighbor or regularly goes to Broken In or something, maybe they could reach out to
I'll start with the pharmacy.
Tommy.
I'll start with the pharmacist and say the others.
Yeah, they are the owners, the two brothers.
Oh, good. That would be good. That'd be
Yeah.
good.
Okay, well, I'll reach out to Beth and maybe Sarah just in
Maybe
case.
Brindle and
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
It needs some green. It's just, it's gonna break. It's gonna bake anyway, but even the green will help.
Okay.
Oh. Well, this just reminded me of something from our meeting minutes. Didn't we talk about in the meeting last year about the highway department and them not planting trees? Was that captured in?
That,
It's
it
in
is
the,
in there.
It is.
it's in the, goals for the year.
Oh, no.
It's in the minutes too?
When we talk about the True City certification,
Oh, yeah.
It's a short mention.
Yeah. One tree.
yeah, the council was
Because that was in
concerned that
red.
only one tree was planted by the town this year.
Okay.
Chairperson Mar asked, oh wait, no.
Well, we talked about.
Oh, if you could schedule a meeting with the supervisor and the town board member.
Okay.
facility.
Okay.
Yeah. I did bring it up at Economic Development Committee, that concern, and at that meeting, I requested the tree council be able to meet with the town supervisor. She nodded, so I think, I'll just keep the actual date going. We talked about it on January.
Okay.
Okay, do we want to look at the planning projects real fast?
Yeah. Maybe not.
That's not a good sign. Is he frozen?
No.
No, he's moving. But if he can't hear us, then he's just watching us.
All right, I can hear you.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
good.
This isn't gonna be the most elegant way of sharing the screen, but it's just what we got tonight. Leo, my computer isn't working well enough to really share the screen very well. Okay,
Okay.
so we've looked
yeah.
at this one a couple times. This is 2890 River Road. I've just let you guys know that it's kind of been moving its way through approvals. They're basically kind of setting their limits of clearing, and I believe that they're going to survey and flag them within the next week or two. So if you haven't driven out there already, go ahead and drive out. This one will probably need a site walk. So, you know, we agreed that our new way of going out there is that we're gonna have them flag the limits of clearing, so we know we're walking. And just to see if there's trees along the edges that we want them to save and mark them. One other thing that came up with this subdivision is that they're looking for their public planting plan, their public street tree planting plan. And they're concerned that up on River Road, they won't be able to really squeeze trees between the property line and the road, the edge of right of way, because there's a drainage ditch there. So when they get their street tree planting plan, I'll bring it to you guys, but they may swap planting trees up here with planting trees like down here. So,
So the color coding, the green is just gonna stay wild and the blue is water, is that what?
yeah, so actually, the blue is designated Army Corps of Wetlands, so it'll stay not
Okay.
proposing to be disturbed. The little hatch mark around the blue is the 25-foot buffer that the town has to wetlands, so that's
Okay.
also not to be disturbed, except you guys can't really see the color, but there's a little triangle right here.
Mhm.
And they went, and a little triangle right here, which they went to the Army Corps of Engineers to get permission to disturb that.
Oh.
But other than that, all of that stays undisturbed. The green is actually partially wetlands. So like if you were just, like this is still the edge of wetlands right here.
Mm.
And then here's the buffer again. But the green is proposed to be dedicated to the town of Niskayuna. That's why it's a different color.
Yeah, okay.
So still quite a few wetlands over here in the green. Any trees that you see over on this corner and everything like that are all proposed to stay. The limits of clearing along River Road, you'll probably notice aren't too bad because there's already a house there. Where the limits of clearing, I think, are the most substantially going to impact trees are off of the cul-de-sac of Seneca. Because I don't think that that's been cleared in a very long time. The planning board walked it. I was unfortunately not able to walk it that day, but they noted that there's some big trees in there. So that's why I said, okay, we'll mark the limits of clearing so we can really look and see, because it's really hard for us to know without them being there.
Okay.
what we can recommend. So I'll probably send you an email on that one, but they seem to want us out there within the month. So in our typical fashion, it'll probably be like -10.
Yeah.
Anytime we do a site walk, it always has to be pretty extreme.
There is technically a little walking path between the bottom corner of that property and River Road Park.
Yeah, it's down here. I'll organize when I offer, either the owners will say, okay, it's ready for the tree council, or they'll meet us out there. But there is a little walking path. Here's the end of Seneca. You can kind of see it's very lightly in this corner, just these little lines. That's the walking path between Seneca and River Road.
And where's the cul-de-sac on that?
The cul-de-sac of Seneca is
It's
right
got
here.
you.
Yeah. River Road Park, sorry. This is actually the court. I think this is the basketball court right here.
So those structures on the map are those.
Proposed footprints of the house. Yeah, he said this is a relatively normal sized house with a 3-car attached garage and then a 3-car detached garage. So it's a pretty big footprint. There's some advantages because a lot of times we see reduced. So this happened to us on Shannon Boulevard, right? We saw a very reduced footprint of what the house was going to be with a very small driveway. And then when building permit came, the houses were much bigger and it was just a huge fight with those trees. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the one big oak tree that they didn't take it down, but it has died, which is just super frustrating. So there is an advantage that they're actually putting what they want to build or what they, probably are going to build, because then at least we can work with the right data. It's not really fair when we go out there and it's a tiny footprint and a tiny driveway, and then we work really hard to figure out which trees we want to protect, and then that's not reflective of what they're actually going to build. But yes, it even came up at planning board. It's a pretty big footprint for building. It's actually quite a bit of driveway and impervious surface.
What's the yellow row?
So the yellow is rain gardens. So because there's so much driveway and impervious surface here, and there's a lot of drainage issues in that neighborhood, they are building individual rain gardens on each one of the properties to catch the water from the new homes.
And do they have to keep that, like, after they get their certificate of
Yeah,
occupancy?
they do.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to in perpetuity. So they have to sign a maintenance agreement that gets recorded to the property, and then they also sign an easement that allows the town to go in and clean them out if they don't, and charge to their taxes.
There's been a lot of muck.
There's 3 of them. So each one of the new homes, obviously this is the biggest because this is the biggest footprint.
So the entrances to these homes are coming off of River Road?
These 2 come off of River Road, yep. And there's actually an existing house here, if you drive by, it's still there. It's a vacant, an abandoned house. So it's a little bit shabby looking.
So you're gonna raise that building.
So, but that's why there's not as much clearing over here, because this was a house in someone's yard for a super long time. So there's really not very much change to the limits of clearing over here.
Does that image have the dotted of the old house?
I didn't put it in, I just put the colored image in here.
Okay.
But there is an existing house that's actually like sort of in between these 2 houses. And then this is brand new though, that's what I'm saying. I think that forest is pretty old and hasn't been cleared in a long time.
Laura, what's that square building up to?
Oh, this is an existing single family home that's not part of the subdivision. And that home is in really good shape. So this is the entrance to River Road Park, right here.
Okay.
Then there's one nice home
Okay.
right on the corner, very beautiful home. Then there's a very, very shabby home
Okay.
that hasn't been lived in years. The shabby home is where these 2 homes are proposing to go.
Okay.
Then you would go a little bit farther, take a right on Seneca and go all the way to the end. And where you can actually see this path from the end to give yourself bearings. But I'll try and be there with you guys. But this is where the
Big house.
probably where we're gonna focus on, and then we want to see the tree planting plan when they're ready.
And there's already homes on the other side of Seneca, right?
Yeah, they all got built around 2004. Maybe the very, very back one's like 2010. Yeah, so that one, be ready. They told me they were flagging the limits of clearing on it. This one is a follow-up to our meeting last month. We said, please plant more trees. They did change the fountain grass to blue stem. I don't know if you saw that, Jeff. Did you notice it?
No, actually, I was looking carefully and I didn't see that.
Yeah, so down here,
I was looking in the rain garden area.
see they, whoops. Yeah,
I see it. Good,
Yeah.
good.
so they changed it to broadleaf sedge, little blue stem, and Virginia rose.
Great.
But I put a note down here because I like those species. And I'm glad that they used the blue stem like we asked them. But in that rendering that we looked at last month, I'm sorry, I didn't put it in this month, I counted and they had a lot more of them. So just counting with the rendering, it was like 35.
Here says fountain grass in here. That's what I was.
Oh, it was? Oh, yeah, okay, so they need to
Anyway.
fix that one too. Yeah, so his plans are inconsistent. His labels though, do you see this 2BS? That lines up to the BS
Right.
is the broadleaf sedge, and then the LB is the little stem. So he has like, yeah, the little blue stem. But I don't think he has enough. I'm glad that he switched to blue stem, but now that he's actually like put where they are, I think they need more. So I'm just putting that note.
They're like this wide, so you just think about what would it take to actually fill
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It's not going to be 6. I think he's proposing 6. Yeah, you need more. And then it's number 1 container, which I think is one is that would be an Amy question.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I reached out to try and get her to come back, and she said maybe in a little while. So they did change the blue stem, but they really did not add any more trees. They changed these to white oak, but they didn't add any more. So I wanted to send this to him ahead of time, but just so happens that I didn't get to. So now if you guys want to, we can make it a formal recommendation of the tree council. He might not be able to fit all of those in, but I feel like maybe they didn't understand.
Yeah.
So I drew them in because there's lots of places you could put them.
But I think also we wanted, as we're driving along Balltown, as we're entering the central part of Niskayuna, have those. We said the power lines are there, but they plant
The small
further up so it doesn't interfere with the power lines.
Yeah, I was gonna draw those in because I know we did make that recommendation.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't is that businesses sometimes want you to be able to see their facades from the road.
This is the school district office, right? It's not a business.
But it is a lease and the landlord's doing the, so I mean, we could, because that was one of the recommendations that we wrote, but I don't know if they like honed in on that recommendation and then didn't want to put the trees along because, so which is why I kind of said, well, okay, even if you don't want to put them along the front of the building, you could put a huge, like these can be huge trees. You could do a line of huge trees here. You can fit more white oaks here. They changed this up here. Right now there's like a, I don't know, like a concrete island of doom. So they're like taking this out and then you can't tell. Oh, you might be able to tell. They're bumping out the green space. So if they're gonna bump out the green space, yeah, right here. So this is the existing green space, this white, and they're bumping all of this out, which is why I'm like, okay, if you're gonna remove the pavement and bump that out, then plenty of room to put trees.
I'd still ask them about the trees.
In the front?
Yeah, and if they say, they want us.
But if you think you had really tall trees, not evergreens, bunch of big high crowns that won't block the view also, the evergreen they grow, but.
Yeah, you could do that.
It also
can-
could do a smaller number. It doesn't have to be all, doesn't have to be all or none. There could be
Then
one
are
or
we,
two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so for
true.
them to plan, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, Leo was saying also they could just, one, even one or two would be better than none.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll send them that map and then also add more, more trees along the power lines.
Interfere with.
I just think that they listen to the easy recommendation and not the hard.
Which mountain grant approval percent, and then we're done.
I read the first sentence.
Oh yeah, there's so much room for trees. I could have drawn a bazillion anywhere. These two trees are very large. Like if you drive by, these are very large trees. Their little tiny circles don't really show how big they are. They're giant oak trees. Yeah, they're not proposing to touch them. Okay. So everybody's in favor of that recommendation, pretty much? Okay, and then as an update to Market 32, they went before the planning board and we did ask them to refresh the landscaping and they did say that they would do that. They haven't presented a planting plan, but they agreed that the trees were in very poor shape and they were amenable to replacing them.
Okay.
So that's exciting. It doesn't have to be a battle.
Mhm.
And then I just wanted to show you, I don't think their plans will change where the trees go, but I don't know. Sometimes you guys have ideas that I don't have. They're changing the entrance into ShopRite. So, before you'd go into ShopRite, like over here's Mathnasium, over here's the liquor store. This is like going down the hill towards Town Hall, and this is going like towards Volcano and Starbucks. So the main entrance was kind of like here.
Mhm.
So you'd walk across these crosswalks and then go on the side of the
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
They're changing it. They're gonna block that off, and then they're gonna do. If you think about it, if you ever shopped in Glenville, they're gonna do or Target. Well, they're all in Glenville actually. I think they have this at Niskuna, but I don't go to that one as much. But they're gonna do a huge like landing zone here with their main entrance there. They agreed that they're gonna upgrade this landscaping. This is what it's gonna sort of look like when you're walking in though. The main entrance will be here, like this will be closed
Okay.
off, and then there'll be this big, like walking in thing.
Big structure.
It won't be a structure. It'll just be painted.
Oh,
And
kind
so-
of like.
Like a Walmart entrance.
Yeah, like a Walmart entrance, where you just have that giant hatch marked
Uh-huh.
thing.
Striping on the street.
Striping, yes. And so I don't think it changes how they could redo their landscaping, but I just wanted to share it with you. If you had any ideas or thoughts on that. This is just a 3D rendering of what it'll look like, but you can't really tell because it's like winter, but a fair amount of those trees, right, even right there, are pretty scraggly.
But we did plant a lot of new ones.
Yeah, so we planted.
A little further down this one.
So we've got all new ones here, all new ones here. For Chase, we got all new ones there. For their other crosswalk, we got all new ones here, and then we have all those little bushes here. But because this is a different parcel, there's 3 parcels. There's this one, then there's a parcel here, and there's a parcel here. We've dealt with this guy and this guy. This is new. So they said they would look at all of those.
Okay.
I don't think that there's anything else we could have renew, but if you think of something, they were amenable properties to have super scraggly landscaping, so they don't mind working with us on that. Well, that'll be nice because when those trees start getting bigger that we replaced, because it was all ash trees
Yeah.
that died. And they'll hopefully be fine and grow up and get big and then be beautiful
Do
again.
we have a lot along the roads there?
Yeah, there's a couple of spruce trees maybe.
Evergreen that are just
Completely dead.
sticks there.
So we could plant more along the road.
Yeah, if you guys, I mean, maybe when I reach out to them, it's been really beneficial when we walk the site with them. If one of you guys wants to, I'll just offer that maybe, the tree council can meet them out there, you know?
Well, and one
Spring
time we
would be
walked
better.
ahead of time so we could come up with
Yeah, we
ideas.
did
I think that's,
with,
Versus-
Starbucks.
yeah, versus having our debate when they're there, you know.
Yeah, that's true. We could also just do that ourselves. They said that their planned move-in date is May, June, or like opening date is May, June. So I'm probably not gonna do a lot of with the landscaping right now, and it might be a little tough to evaluate right now.
Yeah.
Except for the evergreen ones that are dead, they're really dead. But, yeah, maybe we could put something on the calendar for a spring, sidewalk, and then come up with a plan to give to them. So far, they've been lovely to work with.
Is that left-hand entrance gonna be closed also?
No, that one's gonna stay the same. Yeah, where the recycling is. Yeah, that one's gonna stay the same. But this is just a planning board, something they noticed, which rang true to me because I walk through that plaza all the time. Like when you're walking, like from, town hall all the way over to like Volcano Bistro or the Mexican food place or whatever. When you're walking along the sidewalk, when it came to ShopRite, you'd often go into ShopRite and then walk along that corridor and then come out again. Because the sidewalk out front was sometimes blocked or like
They
kind of
block the
small.
sidewalks a lot with shop.
And they're completely changing the inside of Market 32, so you won't have that walking corridor anymore. So the planning board was like, you don't actually realize that when people are like walking the plaza, they like walk through ShopRite, like that's how you
Yeah.
walk it. So they're gonna make it so that Market 32 can't block that sidewalk because they're not gonna have the inside corridor anymore.
Yeah, I never thought you should be able to block a sidewalk.
Well, there's a bus stop there, so if the bus hasn't come and there's people waiting to get on it.
Oh, that's
The
fine, but they
sidewalk
would
is
put
blocked.
pallets of stuff,
Yeah, they put
pallets in it. So you'd have
That's
to
true.
walk.
But it's,
around.
you had to walk around them, or I feel like that's the reason that they usually just walk through because you always had like a group.
Yeah, I would always walk the outside and I always have to walk in the road because they'd have the pallets.
Oh, you would.
Yeah, I did.
The inside, but the planning board's worried because the corridor's going.
Yeah.
They're gonna make it not allowed to do that.
Okay.
But for that reason, I don't think we could ask for trees or anything there. Super,
Yeah.
super tight sidewalk.
So could the planning board ask them to make a bigger sidewalk?
They did. He said he's gonna look into it, but it's already got a reduced, like non-conforming, fire lane. I'm not sure that they're.
Would they put like a picnic table and trees somewhere or no?
Ooh, we could ask him.
It's too much of a hill from front door down to the street, so I don't know where they would
Huh.
have a flat space,
Uh-huh.
except in the, cement patio
Yeah.
by the dance studio.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was any, because you're buying food from Market 32, you could sit somewhere and.
Yeah, I don't have tables on the inside, but sitting outside is not good for yourself.
Can I say, when I went to ShopRite, I walked, and this access right here, so like if you walk from here, you've got a path here, but then you're really stuck. You can't get across here. There's no crosswalk.
Oh, yeah, we could ask them for that.
I think there's one here. I was actually just looking
Yeah.
on Street View. There's one here, but that still doesn't, it's going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And it isn't really getting you across that. And there isn't a stop sign. There's the crosswalk right
Yeah.
there. But
There was,
it's hard. I guess that's maybe the crosswalk there. Maybe that's what
There's
you,
nothing.
yeah, you have to go out into the parking lot.
See, I think that yellow. They are gonna add that, because remember, yeah, good, okay,
Well, yeah, that one we identified, but
yeah.
this one we could ask. Because this is where they're.
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
said
it's
from
just
COVID.
orphaned, it just ends.
So like, here's how that one that is where that like gets across. Here's the front. It's like just empties out into the lane, basically.
Okay.
Next day,
We can
They don't walk well alone, they like other people.
yes. You can schedule a walk with Laura here, walk up the hill, Good exercise going up that hill.
Yeah, yeah.
Get her on a mean subject and she'll.
Oh, yeah. We just have a couch because we didn't need to walk it that fast. And
She didn't notice as we were
You're discussing, yeah,
so steamed about something.
we'll probably go
But
west.
it is a good way to, casually see what we want to see.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
And we usually go further than that. So doing 3 loops around that parking area and back to the town hall is just perfect timing.
Okay.
As long as we get a nice day, it's doable.
Yeah, I feel like it would be good for them to look at that because these parking stalls are where they do their home grocery pickup.
Right.
So if they're gonna be adding signage and sprucing that up a little bit, then maybe we can just have a look at it.
They need to save passage for their employees across the
I
street.
know, I was actually thinking that, like, how,
Wasn't there another picture that showed the
they have a bunch of them.
home, yeah, maybe that one,
Oh, it's designated here, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that's a good view of how it works, that like, if you're walking, then you have to go into those things and then walk down the lane in order to get across there. But I guess everybody who's parking is doing that too, so maybe they wouldn't have much sympathy, but it's just always felt weird to me.
It's,
Well, especially you've got that
Right
sidewalk up
here.
to a point and then it just.
because it seems like,
But of course, that's what people who are going to their cars, like this person is indeed gonna just follow with, we all do that. We all walk into.
Right. Yeah.
they said that, yeah, here's their e-commerce room and exit door. So their employees will be coming out here and then maybe just walking to the back of the car, so that makes sense to them. But seems like they wouldn't necessarily want to dump people directly into these parking stalls. So maybe there's a way that they could pop them out.
Or are they using
They could look at it.
storefront to go? ShopRite have one of the storefronts to go.
Mhm.
Are they gonna use that storefront or is that vacant?
No, they're gonna continue to use that. That's that e-commerce room.
Okay, cause I'm, yeah, well, it's further back.
Yes, it's actually, so there's like magnesium and then there's like a little thing that nobody ever goes into, but it's kind of attached to the store, even though we have it as a suite. That's off topic.
No,
Okay.
it's part of that back suite area.
Yeah, I know.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'll ask him to look at that crosswalk and then we'll do a spring. I'll just let him know that we're gonna do a spring site walk and we can give them to work. We can give them better suggestions then.
So if
That's
they're,
the planning board to put that as a
if they're
condition.
thinking of opening like May or June,
And that's what they said.
do we have an idea when they might have the parking lot arranged so we can see where?
Yeah.
the-
Plan for the parking lot is they're pretty happy with it. They just don't have,
We're basically gonna leave it as it is now, you're saying?
basically gonna leave it as is.
Okay,
They are changing oh, I just had it zoomed in. They're changing the stalls just slightly. I hate
They're
this
changing.
thing.
the grocery cart corral.
Yes,
I noticed.
So here's the existing ones. They're moving them up.
Yeah.
They're moving them up closer to the store.
That makes sense.
They said that they've heard from customers that they like them closer to the store.
Well, it's unusual that you've got so many people parking there that you're that far.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah, so they're moving these two up and this one 4 up. Then everything else is staying the same. The lighting's staying the same. This is not staying the same. This whole area is gonna change.
Right.
But I don't think that has, unless I'm missing something, too much implications to the landscaping.
Look at all the trees they have down there at the bottom in this design, right? No, farther down, right? Are those all really,
Those are all really there.
are they really?
Well, a
Okay.
couple of them are dead, but
Okay.
most of them are still there. I think you might even be able to see the dead ones. It's hard to say. I think that, this is where they start to be conifer trees that are dead. So I don't know if that one is a dead one or not, but where this sidewalk comes down, they planted a fair number of spruce trees and like 2 of them are dead at least. But most of these are okay. You can actually see this one. I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at some of the, like the crown. Like this one, I walk by, because sometimes you don't know if it's volcano mulching or not, but I think it's funny that you can see that, because there's definitely a tree that only has half a crown. I think it's that one. It's like an oak tree, it's like a pin oak or something, and it's really struggling.
50%.
Mhm. But that's why I definitely think that's real, because some of them are in better shape than others. So I'll just, like my recommendation would be from us to the planning board that they put in, work with the tree council in the spring on the landscaping. plan. Okay, that's all I have for planning projects, unless you guys had any questions on that.
No.
Was there's also the, oh, the demography. Okay, yeah, goals, right. What's next? Okay, yeah, let's talk about the goal.
Some we've had on here for a while. So we should maybe really, prioritize them or, that streamline the tree request procedure. I think it's been on as long as I've been a tree council
Yeah.
member.
But we have talked about this past year about that people are requesting these trees and nothing's happening. We'd like to end up in the front of that, but there's backlog, and so we need to talk about the highway department about this, right?
I think that we can hash that out a little bit when you guys meet with the,
Yeah, so how do we, the town supervisor or the highway department?
I think initially the town supervisor, and, you can show her what the things are. And then as long as, all of that goes well, then we can meet with the highway. I think we just need to gather the support.
Should this be one of our goals? It seems like a top priority, certainly as far as tree planting, that
Yeah.
if no trees are getting planted in the town, that's a big deal.
Yeah, to me,
One
that's
tree.
a top priority. Yeah. I mean, what's the purpose of our council then if we're not getting trees?
Also, I think it's fresh data town residents. And they do, it's like, which
Well,
kind of,
And study after study is showing that the street trees have so much more benefit
Yeah.
than we've ever quantified. So I feel like if we really stick to, that we want to protect what we have, and then, make sure that everybody's, getting the benefits of the street trees,
Mhm.
and just keep it very like kind of scientific. Because I can tell you, trees are my absolute favorite thing in the whole world. I love them so much. And I think I just naturally, people just think that it's just, oh, Laura likes trees, which I do. But it's like very frustrating because it's not just that I like trees. Like we have a code.
yeah.
Like we have a tree council that's required by code. We have certifications. We're supposed to spend X amount of dollars per resident. And then above and beyond that, like the things that we're doing have lasting impacts on people's happiness and health. So, I'm thinking maybe if it just doesn't come from like Laura,
Yeah.
from you guys, it might make more of a difference.
So do we want to add this as a goal we have support the highway department, we have streamlined the tree request procedure, but something about even meet with
Line
town
of
super.
fire.
Yeah, or meet with town supervisor to discuss the continuing concern of a forest canopy, of trees not being planted. That more trees are being taken down each year than are being planted significantly.
Is my memory like about a year ago, didn't you say something that the highway department felt they wanted us to be more involved with
Yeah, because when I meet with the highway department, they're not anti-trees.
yeah.
They just like, they get pulled in so many directions, and then trees ends up being.
Yeah, so
The bottom of the
when we
barrel.
meet with them, say, how can we help?
Mhm.
We want this to happen. We want to help.
But we can't drive a truck and plant it.
No, but we can, receive the street tree requests and manage it.
No.
No, it goes to them.
But do you think that the holdup is that they're not managing the requests? Or do you think the problem is that they've got water mains that are broken, and they've got other things that they're doing, and this is just falls to the low. I think they have a list, they know where they would do it.
Oh, yeah, they have a list.
It's just they aren't planting it because
Right.
they're doing other things. They need the supervisor to help them break that.
And we've talked about having a contractor or somebody to help with tree plantings if they can't get to it. So I
And-
mean, there are some solutions. I know they don't like. that.
Yeah, because because that was our idea last year.
Mhm.
And I met with the supervisor and actually, I was the supervisor. I met with the highway superintendent and the chair of his committee, Bill McPartland. And they felt like we couldn't do that on a regular basis because it's union work and they have a contract.
Right.
So the only time we might be able to do it, which is what we talked about before, is like if we had a grant or like a little package
Or to catch up,
deal. Yeah.
because we're,
Wonder if, catching up too.
Yeah. because we're falling farther and farther behind each year.
Well, I mean, realistically, 1 for 1 isn't even a good goal.
Right.
Like,
Should be 2 for
because,
1.
yeah, there's so much more ecosystem benefits to a large tree. So when you lose it, it'd be better if your goal was like at least 2 or.
It seems like it's more of a supervisor level issue because the highway department is trying, they don't have the time.
Right. I mean, You know-
Something's gotta come from the top to say, we need to put your resources here. Or add more resources or come up with a solution.
I think so. Like they have a good budget. We've fought for the budget a couple times. It's not being spent.
Mhm.
So the budget isn't the problem. I really think it's the time, and it's like they know they want to try and do it. I think that the highway superintendent was avoiding me all fall because I kept trying to catch him to see if he's going to have a chance to plant some of the trees. But yeah, they get pulled in a million directions. And I think somebody that's, has got to really say, I know it's hard, but you've got to dedicate, or
Well,
you need another
And
person,
they
or
were
you
gonna
need
hire
another.
that person,
They
remember?
were, yes. they
Because
were.
I even ran into him and he said, oh, they've approached me about coming on for the summer, who used to work for the highway department,
Yeah.
just did the trees. He was our our liaison.
Yeah, he was our liaison.
But they never set that
Never
up.
did. No.
So,
And I think without him,
and I don't think they feel like we have priority. And it just seems like year after year, we haven't made any progress here.
well, and I think it's a person, it is a person, because that individual, Mike Trentini, when he worked at the town, I think it was very easy for them to say, okay, Mike, you're in charge of planting the trees. And he knew how to do it. He'd go to the homeowners, he had the letters. He called in he had relationships with the nurseries. So like, he felt like that was a regular part of his job. And when he worked for the town, I do not think we struggled very much with replanting. But, there was a big hole when he retired and they didn't they did what they could to shift around, but I think the knowledge and the way that he did stuff got lost, which is why I think they were talking about just hiring him back as a contractor,
Right.
but
But they didn't do that.
didn't do it.
And we have money that we could even help pay for him if we had to.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
My husband works with union guys, and sometimes when he has a cleaning project, he goes to the GE union guys, and says, I need to do A, B, and C on this weekend. Are you available? If they say no, he can go out and hire someone.
Mhm.
and maybe there's something like that in that contract too, and we just have to keep having that conversation.
So.
Because I think
yeah,
the initial conversation is, you just gotta be super careful because you can't.
yeah. So if we say we want to plant 10 trees in the spring
On this day.
on this,
Yeah, this group of days.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think we need to have a meeting with the town supervisor soon, before we get well into the year. Because the spring planting season's gonna be upon us.
Yeah, I actually wanted to schedule it before the meeting today, and I ran out of time.
But it also isn't just 10 trees, it's dozens.
Yeah.
well, that's a timeline. I want 10 in the month before June.
But it isn't just a one-time thing, is my point.
Well,
That,
then,
like,
then we would go back and say, I want 10 more in September. Do you have the staff? No, you don't? Okay, we're hiring someone.
We're taking down 60 though, so we're talking 30.
Well,
Yeah,
and that gets back to this very first point. We don't have a process. We don't know what the request is. We don't know how many are coming in. We don't know what the wait time is for them to get the trees. That's all going through the highway department. We have no, you'd think there'd be some sort of line of sight that we as the tree council would have. You always have to go to the highway department at the end of the year. It's only then that we find out, oh, we took down these and we didn't, we don't know that throughout the year.
It's true.
So,
I, in preparation, I was thinking that we'd get so much, I created something, the webpage where people haven't loaded it up, but it's all set to go. So when people want, I haven't launched it.
yeah.
So we can make that a way that people request a street tree on the webpage and say, I'd like this street tree. And then we would have it, we get past the highway.
Exactly.
They're not
But first we
planting it,
need a
it's still-
solution. Yeah, because that would be
yeah.
terrible to get all these requests and.
Yeah. So I think getting the superintendent, getting Jamie here, we just need to make the case that this is, from our perspective, a crisis. She needs to come up with a solution.
word.
Yeah.
Whatever the solution she comes up with, as long as it's a solution.
Yeah, because things we talked about, it'd be unusual for a highway person to come at night meeting, but designating a highway person again to be on the tree council and come and represent the highway department on the tree council. I can bring you as many planning projects as I can in the world, but you really kind of need a highway guy or
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah, and we didn't like the solution of you and the highway person alternating running this
Yeah,
meeting.
we did talk about that at one point.
And that doesn't seem to me to make sense because we need you with the planning projects, but we need a closer relationship with the highway department and a point person that we can go to.
Yeah, or maybe even if we made or the planting subcommittee could meet with them once a month during the day or something if they couldn't do a nighttime meeting. There's just some way of regularly incorporating them into the day. I don't know. I feel like there's lots of things we could try.
I think there's a lot of goals on this, but I think that's like the main goal. If we could
Yeah.
get that done, we'd get a lot accomplished.
Yeah, so maybe we should change the wording a little and bring it to the top.
Yeah,
Instead of having it as a subheading in a tree planting, just make it a heading all by itself. Number one.
because it ties into everything. It ties into the tree management plan that we're working on.
Build a better bond with the highway department.
I mean, that is in here, but I feel like you almost want, these are like ongoing, almost.
Kind of,
I don't think it is in there. Well, you have open
Yeah.
up dialogue, but
Yeah.
support highway department is really not what we're talking about.
No. it's,
So I guess maybe like the number one goal could be address the lack of planting or something, or if we have better words than that.
Meet with the supervisor.
Yep.
But,
um,
I mean, I
Put it
guess
in
that
there.
just incorporate.
Have it in our goals.
yeah,
It seems like there's gotta be a better word than that, but address the lack of planting. I hate for them to be kind of negative goals though. That's why I'd like to word it in a slightly different way.
establish a process so that tree requests and there's an overall yearly tree planting plan that is communicated to the tree council.
I don't think that address the lack of planting is a negative goal, though. Address is positive. We're looking to fix a problem. We've kind of papering over the problem in how we have it there. And by actually stating the problem, which is the fact that trees aren't being planted, we're addressing that. That's a positive goal.
Okay, then we could have number one be address the lack of planting in the town. Why did you put
Or
it in?
determine a solution to,
Mhm.
Or to convince the supervisor why we want
Yeah.
all the trees planted. However you want to say that. The reasons behind our interest in having so many trees planted.
Yeah,
So,
you know-
so we have a process. I mean, there is a process, right? It's just the process is failing, right? There's the,
well,
residents make requests. It's supposed to go to the highway and they're not doing it. So it's to fix, it's really to fix a process that already exists. It's just, it's stopped.
Says for street tree, we don't, there's like a, we don't know what the process is.
Like and I've never experienced this, I don't think, but my understanding of the process is if they take a tree down on a property, that address automatically goes on their on their planting list.
But if I want a tree, a street tree, what do I do? Because people ask us that and we don't really have a good answer.
Yeah, so my understanding of that is that you contact Patty
Who's
at the highway, she's the secretary of the highway department. And you request a tree and she puts your address on the list.
See, but if we're not even really sure of this,
Yeah, it's
So it's not-
sounds like there's a, like a,
How about develop
Everybody
a
knows.
transparent and an effective method for street tree planting?
Or establish.
and address lack of
Yeah,
tree plantings
yeah.
over the past few years.
Right, and,
This can't speak, so Leo can participate better. It's transparent and effective.
Can the tree council meet with the town board or do a presentation to the town board to establish our reasons why street trees are good?
Well, and just also let
And
them
educate
know
them, yeah.
how many trees we're losing yearly. I mean, how many trees are coming down and not getting, our forest canopy is decreasing significantly
Yeah.
within the town.
It is.
I mean, between the building projects and then we're not planning anything.
Significantly. And a lot of the trees are aging out, so a lot of them are coming down.
So can we do a presentation to the town board to establish?
I mean,
Well, let's meet with the supervisor
Sorry.
first,
and then we
maybe,
could
and see
offer,
what she
we could
says.
offer a print.
yeah, we need to, or she might then suggest we should get a little bit more allies working.
That would.
So the first, the one on there, it says, streamline the process for resident requests. Does that process exist now? Is the first one on the goals is to streamline the process?
But we don't know. If you asked us what the process is, we don't know if there is one.
It's not
Okay.
our procedure. It exists in the town, but we're not involved with it.
So that sounds like part of it, that process is failing, like part of what we're talking about, right? That if the people are making requests, they're not being acted on.
Do,
So-
is there some reason you or the tree council can't get the request or learn or know about, find out about the requests? Why is it like
why is it like,
a black
secret,
hole,
yeah.
a secret,
yeah, I don't always understand exactly why it's a black hole, except that sometimes, and I don't feel like I don't feel like I throw people under the bus or, like blame people for things not being done. I know that we all have a ton of stuff to do, but I don't know if there's some history that clouds it because I do ask for it. I have asked for it. And yeah, it does. I do feel like they have a list, but it's not readily shared.
It's like when you ask for it, they know the list exists somewhere. They're gonna have to go find the list. They never get around the list.
So are there, it sounds like there are two, it sounds like there are two related issues, doesn't it? It sounds like there is this, the bigger problem is trees aren't getting planted. So the
Yeah.
first issue is this, there's apparently a request procedure, but we don't know what it is. It doesn't seem to be working. And then there's also supposed to be a replacement procedure, you said, right? If a tree gets taken down. So those are sort of two separate things that need to be fixed to fix that bigger problem. Is that?
The priorities.
like, somehow convey that, this needs more attention by the highway department? So that they can do the trees.
Yeah,
But then the other thing is like the tree request process procedure is kind of this thing that we can't get our hands around. And
and it's not for lack of, I mean, for years we haven't been able to.
yeah,
And I don't understand, maybe there's a way, like when they take a street tree down, part of the process is you plant a tree. You work with the homeowner to know that a tree's coming down. What tree are you gonna plant in its place? And the process, that isn't complete until they plant the tree, take it down and plant a replacement.
We talked about that last time. I think maybe the timing might be better. The reason I think that, at least my understanding from talking to them sometimes, is that they take the tree down, they like, I can't remember what you call it, but they like, sand it down to the bottom of the grass.
They grind it.
Grinding, yeah, they grind it down. We have a grinder, and so after we take the trees down, we don't leave the stump. We grind it down to just below the grass. Then we put soil on top of the old stump and grass seed.
Yeah.
And like my understanding is that sometimes, especially like in Old Niskayuna, that old stump is large and difficult to dig next to. And then the lots are only like 60 feet wide. So you have driveway, then you have water line, then you have stump, then you have sewer line, then you have the next person's property line.
But
So,
I don't
like-
think they're trying. I mean.
Yeah, right. I agree. But I thought like from my understanding from them is that they said that they put that on there and then they come back a year or two later and see if they can fit it in. They sort of let that ground kind of sit and then they come back, but they're not coming
Right,
back now. But
exactly.
that was my understanding of why they didn't do it like immediately. But to me,
Does the stump underground actually decay enough in a year that you can plant a tree then?
No, you have to plant, I mean, my parents' house has huge silver maples. We've taken them down, we plant a tree near it.
Mhm.
You're not gonna plant it,
on it.
and they're, yeah, and so, and it looks a little off, but,
Oh, well.
exactly, that's where it has to go, so.
Can one of the goals be to digitize the tree planting list?
Oh, you mean the one that they have in their department?
That would be
Change
amazing.
their process that it's now a digital list saved on the master server of the town.
Well,
And it could be a resident request list and a down tree, replace tree list.
It should be,
And it's digital, so then we can implement the digital request for,
I'd like to see if there are pockets where they are being planted and pockets where they're not. Where are we missing?
right,
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because another thing we have, I think, made some inroads with the highway department is that they definitely favored large trees. Like when we first started as a tree council, like when they were putting a street tree back, they wanted it to be substantial. I mean, 3-inch caliber, taller than, and it took us a while, but we were getting them to plant slightly smaller trees. If you plant a slightly smaller tree, you could probably fit it closer to the old root balls too. They like do substantially
Yeah.
large trees, but if we can also convince them that it's okay in some of those instances, if you can't fit a substantial tree because there's a water line and a sewer line and you just can't do your big hole, you might be able to do a smaller guy closer to the old stump.
so if we put this as a goal, maybe our first action item between now and the next meeting is to meet with the town supervisor. We kind of break it down. If we want to accomplish this goal for the year, let's figure out, and then after meeting with her, let's figure out how we can meet with the highway department and
Yeah, it seems as if we have a number of things we need to communicate with the highway department,
Mhm.
advertise, supervise. All these issues are like, improve our communication, our relationship with the highway department.
Yeah, and honestly, the town board is supportive, but I still think that planting trees sometimes gets lumped into this fringe
Yeah.
population thing. When all of my experience tells me that it is not fringe, like if you go to a planning board meeting and the public speaks, I would say 75% of the time, one of the things the public is upset about is the trees being cut down. it's very normal. People don't like it. Like things that, I mean, the success of their Arbor Day, like people love the training, like I don't, and you're seeing more and more of those studies showing the benefits of trees just way over and beyond anything that we ever imagined. I think that it's not fringe, but it's kind of like the ideas still taking a while to really sink in, that it's not like some fluffy demand when you have time. It really is like crisis level. Like we've really got to make sure that we're protecting our residents by planting trees.
And I think meeting with the town supervisor is good, but I think we also need a point person on the town board. Like Denise was ours for a while, and then what was her name?
Rosemary.
Rosemary. She actually came to one of our meetings when she first joined. And I don't know who it is now, but we don't have any relationship with them.
It's probably Bill McPartland, but the one thing that Rosemary did that was very helpful is she required the highway department to put tree council on their committee report. So when they were reporting on their town board committee meeting, there was a tree council bullet point that they had to address every month.
See, that's,
But when she left, that came right off the agenda. But Rosemary did that. Yeah.
yeah.
When you talk to Ray about stuff, do you get the idea that he's getting his data off of a digital file or pieces of paper that are left in his office?
My sense is that it's a spreadsheet that Patty has, would be my guess. I don't think it's handwritten.
I just, highway department, bunch of lugs. I imagine it's pieces of paper that are scattered around the office and
No, but the interesting thing about the highway department is they are not very digitally integrated with town hall. Like they're on a different server. Like we have shared files like among different departments at town hall. So it's pretty easy for me to communicate something to engineering. One, they're in the building, but two, they're on the same server. So we can just share files very quickly. Highway is definitely, like, even digitally, its own place. They have a different computer, they have a different internet connection. Like up until recently, you couldn't even transfer calls to them really. So I do think they have it electronically, but I don't think that electronically it merges very well to town hall.
okay.
Just attach an email. I'm starting to think that really sounds like what you were saying.
Yeah.
I might be. But
No, I mean, you could 100% email. I don't think that it's a handwritten list though. I think they have it on the computers.
because that would, if they have the correct Excel file created, in a moment, we can get lots of information.
Exactly.
And the question is, do they have that Excel file created? Or do they have a piece of paper glorified into an Excel file?
Exactly.
Well, yes, but what good would it do if they gave us the list and we couldn't do anything with it? Like maybe just more frustration. So I don't know that we necessarily want to focus on getting that list in our hands without building,
We need a process.
a process.
We need to- Because they don't even ask us what sort of trees should they plant.
Yeah, like,
They're out there,
But that's part of the digitizing the highway department and tree planting.
yeah, but I feel like, in building bridges, we don't need to be like, how are you keeping your list? We need to be like, how can we get so that I love develop a transparent and effective method to, for residents to request trees, because like, how can we get that list? Like, how can we integrate our little module in our website that could allow people to put their address in? How can we merge that with your list? Who can we designate to be responsible for following up with these addresses? Like, can we do it? Do you have to do it? If you have to do it, can we build timelines in where we can check with you? The actual, physical list of itself, I don't know that.
I can imagine the scenario where we're managing the list and they set up a schedule. This is the day we go and tell them, these are the addresses to move to. So once there's a schedule, then in the schedule be, this is the day they go do tree planting. I could see that being improved because now it's on their regular schedule. They
Yeah,
have designated tree planting days.
yeah, and I think it has gotten lost from their regular schedule because of personnel changes and things like that.
So I think this is a big goal for the year and we can break it down into action items that we need to take first. Meeting with the town supervisor, meeting with the, establishing a better relationship with the highway department, understanding what their process is, understanding how we can help with that process. But yeah, I think the first step is meeting with the town supervisor. And figuring out who our town board person is. Because
So
we
highways
need,
and
we need
parks,
the support from above. We need the town supervisor and the town board people lobbying for us.
we absolutely do.
And getting back on their agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, no one up there hates trees. I just think that
It's just not.
It's not getting the attention.
Yeah.
So,
So if our primary goal then would be to develop a transparent and effective method for residents to request trees and address the lack of tree replacement in the public right of way.
Mhm.
That could be number one. Then underneath that, we could have a meeting as your action item, like meeting with the supervisor, digitizing and sharing the planting list. You know, yeah, addressing roles. We sort of had that, but understanding and addressing roles between the tree council and the highway department.
we've only gotten the goal one.
Yeah, but that's
It's
really
significant, yeah.
We've been lacking in the last couple of years.
All the other things kind of fall under the
Yeah, it's
planting
hard,
of the trees.
it's hard to even do the other things that we want to. We're falling behind with things.
The
So-
public outreach, the Arbor Days, that's a non-issue, we do it.
Mhm.
The Niska Day booth is, if somebody's available, we just do it.
You and I are gonna meet about the website.
Yes,
Website is good.
it will be.
Oh, we're gonna migrate it.
Different posts.
Oh, okay.
So I spent a lot of time on this trying to solve this 2 megabyte limit problem. Learned that the problem isn't the application or program, it's our website, our host. So I did a lot of trouble to try to fix it, and I messed it up as I told the email, and Steve saved it. And I thought it was saved, and it still wouldn't work. And eventually, someone else, the guy who wrote the plugin for the contest, he looked at it, and goes, something weird about your web host, that even though you changed it to be 512 megabytes here, so it's still living at 2 megabytes.
Our
So we
web
move
host-
it to new host, it should be fine.
It should be fine. Our web host is AWS, right? And we would go to A2.
No, A2 is expensive.
Oh, A2 is.
Yeah, I looked at it Monday. I did a lot of shopping. I think DreamHost is
Oh,
one.
Dream-
Yeah.
Next.
So if you want to know the price of that, DreamHost will be
Cause somehow we somehow.
it'll be
have something.
$35 for the first year, about $55 for the second year, and then $89 per year after that.
That would make everything better and then we could have our beautiful photo content.
Yeah.
And people wouldn't have to worry about
The
trying to
2
make,
megabyte limit. you-
which nobody's phone takes 2 megabyte pictures.
Right. It's like,
But the snow came down this weekend.
I know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, this is we're jumping way ahead, but since it came up, it is kind of late. My thought is, I think we should just hold off on the float. Just for now. We don't have a working website yet.
Get the
So
website.
maybe we'll get it. I don't want to be too optimistic, so maybe we're gonna hold off on this till next year.
The winter
Oh.
part.
Yeah, the winter
Well, we
tree.
could do a spring or summer.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
We haven't done a summer,
So
so,
maybe we can do 21.
and we should get Jeff's article out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to. There's been a little bit of a scuffle about boards lately, so I'm thinking like a week or two from now will be good. But yeah, I think that'll go out and hopefully, one, it'll get, people thinking about trees, but then two, maybe also interested, and we could get a couple of members. You guys are carrying a lot of weight right now.
Or did you get dates for the training, public training?
No, nope, I didn't.
Does anyone have anything I need to leave for, by the way? I mean, when,
I mean, we're running long, is that? what-
yeah, is that a problem for anyone?
Still 7.
Okay.
What's that?
Just stay another 12 minutes.
Okay. Um,
So we've covered number one. Are we good with number one? And like number 2, 3, 4 are pretty much, an ongoing,
are you talking street tree inventory or like, are we on 1B? Blatnick Park sign landscaping, is that something we still have to do? Is
Are we, yeah, Amanda, are you talking about the discussion items or the goals?
the goals.
Oh, okay.
are you talking number 2 or are we still?
2 street tree, like 2. On the big 2,
Okay, but
these are pretty much,
what about all these up here?
right, well. I thought we were kind of
I think we
streamlining.
should strike the Black Neck Park sign landscaping. It looks okay, and that was kind of an Amy project.
There's an naming project and the highway department has since decided that they don't want little bitty landscaping, flowery things. They want trees or shrubs. They want to mow around it. They don't
Where's
want
the Parks
to.
Department? Wait, they
Yeah,
put
they don't
little
want
flowers
to
around?
weed. And all that kind of fun stuff.
But,
They mostly just mow and weed whack.
Oh,
But this is another thing we can have, because the other thing is we can't just stick the trees in the ground and call it a day,
Right.
because we have to be respectful of the money that we're spending on trees. Like, it's good to protect our residents with trees, but we also can't just plant them and then be like, good luck, buddies,
Yeah.
because they die, and then it's just a waste of our money. And so another thing that we really have to talk about is getting a watering truck.
Well, and I talked to Nick, he was so helpful. He
Yeah,
was gonna
he's
cut down
great.
something. He even said they would come a couple times during the summer if we couldn't support it
It's number H.
and water our trees that needed to be watered. He could make a watering, what do you call it, container to put on the back.
But I think watering is actually even less important than weed whacking them. Because if you do a slow drive around like the trees and the medians on Lexington Boulevard or Grand Boulevard, or actually Red Boulevard, but even in our parks, like particularly in our parks, they are so damaged from weed whacking. And the bigger ones seem to make it, or at least for a little while. But the smaller ones, you weed whack around them a couple times and it's pretty damaging to them. So we really, and we've talked about this before. Oh yeah, it's the town. And we've talked about this before. Well, so this is the thing though. We tell them not to weed whack around the trees. But then the grass gets tall and a resident will call and say, you're not taking care of the parks and it looks really scruffy and awful. And then, so they get yelled at. And then they get yelled at. Well, we don't yell. I'm not a yeller, but let's say they get yelled at by me for weed whacking, and then they get yelled at by the residents for not weed whacking. And when it comes to between the
But
two,
it's not rocket science. Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
It's a happy medium. Cutting grass without severing, without girdling a tree around the base.
and we've talked about, because we've talked about it. It's a rock and a hard place sometimes. Like the state puts the tape around, because it's not just our highway department that does that. It happens all over the place. That's why they protect the new trees when they plant them with those tapes, because you can't girdle a tree if you've got the tape protecting at least one part of it. And they sometimes do socks or something, but sometimes that holds the moisture against the trunk, so that's not always great either. But it's kind of like weed whacking or moisture, or like So I mean,
hearts of goats.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, the other thing you can do is mulch around them, but then you have to maintain the mulch, so you'd have to get a much bigger budget for mulching around the bottoms of trees, and then you have to make sure they're mulching right. But like mulching, they don't have to weed whack, right? If you mulch correctly.
Do we have any garden clubs or anything that would want to volunteer to help?
I don't know if they can't, I don't think they could get volunteers for the library maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I find even interesting? Like if you go up to the senior center, they lost a couple of really big oak trees last year, 2 years ago. And if you look around the base of them, they have a lot of damage around the base. So I think it even damages the big guys over time. It's even damaging the big guys. I mean, I'm not sure those trees would have died. But if you looked around the base, you could see that there's so much damage.
Yeah, this is a downer of a meeting today, people.
Weed whacking the tree.
Like,
Maybe the town residents need to be educated that grass growing up the trees is
thinks
is
a lot of
protecting the
it
trees.
is
The
education.
alternative is killing trees. That's not good.
Well,
Right.
it isn't. The alternative to,
But I get really sad when we fight really hard to get the trees planted and then they die a couple
Yeah.
years later. So it's kind of a two-pronged thing. We've got to get them in, and then we've got to get someone. And I do feel like it really comes down to like having someone in the highway department who has knowledge and can, on a day-to-day basis, you know, just have a working relationship with all the guys. 'Cause there's a lot of them, like probably like 30 to 40 guys that are out there in the summer, taking care of the parks and weed whacking and mowing.
And the
Um,
public has power.
I know, yeah. So, I feel like it's not welcomed from an outsider.
John's wife is on
Oh.
board.
Yeah.
The co-op, she wanted-
She's on,
Yeah, Tina's on the board.
of where?
Co-op.
Oh,
So we wanted to
you might
get
even
the
be
zero
telling me
now.
that.
Sorry.
Well, it just didn't need to be a downer, but I feel like when we're getting into the conversation in the relationship, we need to talk planting and we also need to talk about care. So it's planting. and care.
good point.
Yeah.
Because if we get to the point where we finally get them to start sticking the trees in the ground and they're like, okay, you did it. You did, yes, yay. Now let's keep them alive.
Is there something like a barrier that can be installed?
Oh, around the bottom of the tree. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ones. They all have their pros and cons. The state did tape the ones on the Balltown Road traffic circle, and the town maintains them and has weed whacked them, and the tape does seem to keep them from too much harm.
Would
Doesn't
it be
seem to be
possible for us to
hurting.
give a presentation to the Parks Department that wouldn't be seen as insulting and,
I would think so. Again, that might all come from the opening up conversation. You know,
so maybe we should include the Parks Department.
yeah, so they changed the committees around in January.
Oh.
So the town just restructured all their committees. It's actually back, they shift and ebb and flow depending on how things work. It's back to the way it was with Rosemary, where one of the committees is highways and parks. Because,
So the department.
yes,
Okay.
well, now it is.
Yeah.
They shift, but if you guys go down to WTRY Road, the highway department and the parks department are in the same complex. And the highway superintendent does oversee the parks department as part of highway. But it is its own like little entity. So parks guys really don't work in the right of ways. They work on town parks. And then the highway guys do the plowing and stuff.
And don't venture.
Yeah, so every once in a while I've gotten a parks crew. Yes, they do. Every once in a while I've gotten a parks crew to do some planting for us. But usually only when it's in a park have I been able to get a parks crew. So we had a parks crew do our bare root planting in River Road Park. There were a couple elm trees which are doing really well. They did a couple red maples. I think that parks did help us with that too.
Yeah.
So originally,
I'm sorry.
so do you remember originally the highway department dug all those holes and planted half? And to redo them.
Yeah.
I think the parks department came out and helped us redo them, but it was originally planted, but they didn't take the cages off of them and they were not,
Right.
yes, so we had to go back and replant the other half.
where do we want to go here?
So maybe another thing is like maybe the parks, people take a bigger role in the trees. I don't know. There's lots of things that we could have.
Those might be.
Have a lot of trees in the parks that we're planting in the parks.
They got skills.
I have enjoyed working with both crews, but you know, they've done a good job of meeting them.
We want to meet with the supervisor and then revisit our.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can draft another set for the next meeting that switches some of these around and we can move some of these that don't fit into a couple and then bring them back to you guys to look at, and then we might be able to address them a little more too after a meeting.
I still want to get that tree master plan done. We're like 95% done. Why don't I set up a meeting with Dan Biggs, which may force you to then.
You might,
Yeah.
because he sent the package out and I was like, well, I have all of Thursday to work on the tree master plan. Like, I might be able to do the whole day on it and then get it done for Carol.
And if anybody else wants to sit in on that, the tree master plan meeting,
I know Dan would be really happy if we could finish that.
I know, because we still have a little bit of money, right,
Yeah.
saved to spend. So,
So
I mean, this was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Learn when I was getting these, because I was watching some videos to see that I could get out to you guys, is that software, it took me a little while to get it on my phone, but if Fulcrum ever stops working, that software you can do a tree inventory with.
But do we use Fulcrum?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I can still get into Fulcrum to get our data, but I feel like eventually, I'm not even sure. Like, if you go to Fulcrum's website, it looks like they're transitioning away. Like, I'm not sure how much longer Fulcrum's actually gonna work. But that one that I sent you guys, if we ever needed it, you can definitely do a tree inventory, very similar to how we did it with that software.
Thanks, you guys. I'll be optimistic.
We'll figure it out. So motion to adjourn.
No, I mean, we can if you guys want. We don't really have-
We're always happy. Yeah, we're.
Oh, did I put the spreadsheet, so our final Arbor Day order changed a little bit
Yeah.
again. I don't know if you noticed. He sent me an email and said that the, Mountain Ashes were sold out. So we had to take the Mountain Ashes off, and he also said the only way we could get arborvitae is if we got 50 of them. So. And, there was a couple other little tweaks. I think we had to get 25 Norway spruce instead of 20. They must come in packs of 25. I felt like our overall goal was still good. If you look, did I put it in the packet?
Yeah, you did. You did.
We're over our goal and the budget's still okay, but I don't think that we'll be able to add 2 blocks.
Okay.
These guys, they were $5.75 a stem, so they're pretty expensive, but I do think that the fruit brings people in. So this was the same numbers, but he gave me the price, which is why I don't think we can really add any more. The Norway spruce had to go up to 25, and the pawpaw, maybe he just gave me the price. I think maybe, yeah. So it's mostly what we sent, but no mountain ash and way more arborvitae than we actually asked for. But the funny thing about that was the price went down, so the arborvitae stems are only $1.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So it actually didn't affect the budget that much, even though we went to 50. So our goal was 400 and we have 420, and it's about the same amount of money that we normally spend. So
Yeah, and pretty soon we're gonna have to start reaching out to the booth people.
Yeah.
But if anybody has any ideas on anything new or different to do this year,
the
you know,
Raptors, I definitely
think the
think brought
Raptors
people
were
in
good.
before.
we've talked at times about doing another art contest, but we'd have to start early if we were gonna do that.
Bring it to the schools again.
Yeah. Or, anything else. Each year I wanna try to keep it kind of.
If we don't have the Raptors this year, we get something else that can kind of highlight that event.
The Raptor, we did have to pay for the Raptors.
Yeah,
Money,
which is
but
okay.
last year they said they would come back.
People really like them.
Yeah, but if we do the same thing year after year, then, so I'm trying to always try to think of something a little bit new and different to do.
Yeah, and we're gonna do a big focus on sycamores this year, right? So we can get people to take sycamores. So I'm gonna start researching sycamores and finding all cool stuff that we like.
And like I saw a tree bingo game, but I don't know how we have bingo.
Are you like a professional storyteller or something this year or something? Oh,
Yeah, that would be cute. To keep the little kids.
Or a couple of storytellers. I don't know. I did really like the Raptors, but
Yeah.
that had like the event.
Yeah, I think we could still have the Raptors, but storyteller or the art contest or, you know, something. The art contest worked well. I mean, that was a lot of work for Amanda, but I think it was fun. You could go and vote on them. So,
Like seeing them all. But do you remember how windy it was that year?
yeah. It worked out well last year. We had the inside, so we could always do, you know,
That's inside.
yeah.
Like no matter what, it would be inside. So if it got windy or snowy or crazy, it would be bad.
Betsy had a good reader at the Elf Fest. But I wonder if the Niskuna Children's Librarian would be a good source for a book reader.
Yeah. Because when you did the live stream,
The storytellers don't even use books. Like they're just storytellers. They're pretty cool.
Is there anything we could do with like the big tree? How people are kind of interested in like the big trees, finding the big trees or having someone like,
They did
yeah.
the big tree contest.
it's like we did the contest, but I don't know, bring in like someone. Talk about that, or we could do some, I don't know, I just think about it.
Well, I mean,
About big
check out
trees.
too, like giving people awards for like a particularly special tree, you know, just so
Mhm.
that they're more invested in keeping their big trees.
Well, and when we were at work, when we had the photo contest, we voted when we had everyone together. So like if we did have a photo contest, instead of us,
The public
the
would vote.
public could vote on
That would be
Arbor Day.
Yeah, yeah.
On the best one,
Yeah,
that would be cool.
but we would have to have it, you know, I don't know how long it would take, but you know, if we could start in March, this isn't until the end of April.
So the most optimistic idea is I can have it ready next week.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to do something I've never done.
Let's see, I mean, then we could do the photo contest and put them up and people could vote.
It would be Labor Day that residents can drop off a print, an 8x10 print of their favorite tree in Niskuna, and we could vote on that.
So the problem is they really haven't reached out
Did
to
we get some-
by Arbor Day. They won't be able to take a beautiful picture of their tree. Oh, did it kick Leo off?
No, I'm still here.
It's still there.
Would it be,
But we don't have to deal with the 2 meg limit
Yeah.
if they're dropping off the picture.
Yeah, we always want to have them digitally though.
would the spring be flowering out then by end of April?
I don't, end of April sometimes, but I feel like it's usually still.
Yeah,
pretty
May flower
early.
week, yeah. Huh. Well, but yeah, so I mean, we can think about it, but I think starting in February, I need, because that only gives us 2 months, starting in February to,
They like the scavenger hunt
Yeah,
or the Arbor Day tree hunt.
oh, when they had to go find the Arbor Day trees?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So if we could do something else and find some weird shaped tree in the lock,
Uh-huh.
find something strange over in River Park, the bike walking trails.
Yeah,
So if I like that idea, I think another cool thing that we could do, although it relies on people being honest, would be like, you could almost set up a geocache in Niskuna where you could say, here's your scavenger hunt, but if they found the tree, you could have like a little chest or something at that tree where they could take a little prize out or something. Like if I do that early enough, I could totally set that up.
People could start that next week.
There is There's a program called Goose Chase, which is, I don't know if you've used it. It's a phone-based thing. And you set up a scavenger hunt basically, but then they record photos, and usually people do it in teams. So you take pictures of yourself so we did this at Union. They identify trees, they find a Samara, they find a squirrel's nest. And it's pretty easy to use. It's fun.
Is it free? It's called
I'm
Goose Chase?
Goose
It's
Chase.
free?
I think it is free, yeah.
I mean, I even like its title.
Oh, and then, remember with the pandemic, you'd walk along River Road Park and they had a story. That maybe we could do that around the town,
The green,
the green, and it could be the big bear hug or something like that.
I love the big bear.
And they could at least, if it was a nice day, just do a little walk around. And maybe around there, they could pick up something.
I love that. Those are like very doable, I think.
Yeah.
Chase has a variety of pricing and subscription options.
Well, we can look.
Maybe there's a free option.
So, okay, so just to go back, the 2024 goals we'll redo and bring back to next meeting. The Arbor Day trees, I did put that in because it was just very time crunched by the end of the year. The
Did that
wind-
come out of last year's or this year's budget?
It does come out of this year's budget, but in order to get those prices, we had to order them last year and then we pay for them this year. The winter photo contest will hold off for now, and then you're gonna come by next week. So,
Give me a day and time.
Okay.
If you look, just talk about it at the end.
yeah. I feel like I could even probably do tomorrow afternoon if you're available.
I can do
Um,
thing after 2:30.
Okay, that'd be fine. I just have to show you what I'm paying for, and then you kind of just have to say, okay, like, let's cancel that one, and then I'll do this one, or whatever. And then as long as we're like really clear, you can go for it, because that kind of money is fine. And then I'll work on the trainings. I sent you guys some videos, and I think when we have like a low meeting or something, or a different meeting, we can watch them together too. Would be fun. But I'll try and schedule or get some things for a public training.
Watch the ones associated.
They're only like 3
Yeah.
minutes long, but
Yeah.
they're interesting,
Yeah.
right? I feel like,
One thing they didn't say, which I want somebody to tell me, at what level do you say to the resident, yes, this tree is
I
done?
know, it doesn't tell you that.
Yeah.
Maybe if you put it in the app and you
Yeah.
do those 6, and then it'll tell you. I'm not sure. I did finally get it on my phone. It took me a really long time to download it, but it's really interesting. So I'll get some public dates that I can give you guys. And on my reports, I do want to send out the hillside letter still, and
Yeah.
I do want to still do the email blast. I added that in once I read the minutes because I was like, but keep this agenda next to me for this time. And then you will schedule a meeting, or we'll reach out and do one, Dan.
Yeah, I'll reach out and find out when you're free and then we'll set up something. And forestry grants, I just saw that really quickly.
Ooh,
If there's a
yeah.
deadline, I don't know, but I just want to make sure we know the deadline this year and we get the grant in. When we should, and if we can help work on that.
It's another thought I had, it's an old thought, just recycling back up. I guess towards spring, towards house selling time. Taking the benefits of trees and raise the real estate agents, yeah.
We could get. Look at this, the fancy green one.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, and we're losing trees year after year. Don't come here.
We'll figure out a way to make it better. It's just good to have a good breadth and scope of the problem, and then it gives us the ability to like tackle it.
One of the reasons for the council is we recognize this problem.
Right.
So we can address it and solve it.
The Arbor Day date has been set. Is it on the main calendar?
I think it is.
But it's that Saturday. Siri, Arbor Day this year.
Well,
Friday, April 20.
when do our shrubs?
So ours would be April 27th.
Yeah, when do the shrubs come in?
Yeah, Nick told me that. It's like a week before, but he's gonna hold them for me.
Okay. Okay, so it'll be Saturday, April 27th. It'll be our Arbor Day,
Mhm.
and you'll reserve.
Yeah, do we wanna do it at town hall then?
I think so. That seemed to work.
It's, for weather-wise, it's the best option.
Yeah. Cause yeah, like last year, we really needed that.
And we talked about this too. I think we could even plant the sycamore maybe on the other side of the road if we needed to, but it'll be close enough that it'd still be part of the festivities. I don't think that many people really
No.
care.
No.
There's a drug take-back day. And they use the town hall parking loop, so that's the only thing I'm concerned about.
But we could probably, I mean, we did this once before and it worked fine with the sassafras. We can even plant the tree the day before
Sure,
and then be
exactly.
like, go see the beautiful
Yeah.
sycamore that we planted for Arbor
That could be
Day.
part of the scavenger hunt or
Mhm.
something. Go find our new Arbor Day tree.
Yeah. But use the crosswalk. Okay.
Okay.
Did anybody have anything else?
I think we covered a lot.
I think like for the Arbor Day, some, booth ideas, and you can't say how we actually do this, but focus on tree pruning and tree identification and tree planting and tree mulching, really try and
Like divide
focus
up
on
kind of things and then.
education.
Somewhere in there they should learn not to weed whack around the tree.
And
The homeowner issue as much as it is the town though.
Well,
I mean,
homeowners
some
probably do it
homeowners
too.
probably do it.
But it would be worth mentioning it to everybody.
When, who was the
Once
guy?
you see it, you can't unsee it. Like, look at the bottoms
Yes.
of the trees.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
in her. It's
like, do they grow trees in their own property?
But like
They
National
realize-
Grid brought
they realize how
like a
much it
tree
is.
and showed a little bit how to prune or good. So maybe we could have, I don't know how we do this, but volcano mulching, regular, and
Yeah.
have them pick what's the right,
Yeah,
Actual,
so they can see, and we have a few different,
examples.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we could build a volcano mulch example.
and a good one, and then have them, pick, it could be an activity and they could.
Yeah.
Get, I don't know.
Like, okay, here's a tree. Show me how you would mulch this tree. And then.
Yeah, or what's wrong with
Yeah.
this,
David tells it there, it could, you just leave it and you don't have to man it. You just,
Yeah.
they can come by and they turn over which is the correct answer.
Yeah, exactly.
A, B, or C. Oh, the answer is B.
I think that'd be fun, some more interactive.
Exactly,
like the
yeah.
Kids museum.
Yeah, but it works. People, I think
Yeah.
people remember better than when you hand them a pamphlet. They
Right.
remember seeing, touching, smelling.
Mhm.
Probably a fair number of them would guess that the volcano mulching was right, and when they flipped it over and they were wrong, that's kind of like
And then
an
say,
epiphany.
do you have this in your yard or,
Yeah.
Have you seen it? Something like that?
What, that one's wrong? But that's the way my landscaping does it.
Exactly.
And then did you ever see your neighbor's tree for some unknown reason? It's because of the volcano mulching. The DEA or the non-DEA website says that April 27th is a drug take-back day.
Yeah, it's always like the same day. It's okay.
So we did have troubles years ago when we were handing a drive-by, when we were doing the drive pickup.
Yeah, but
Because
I
of
think
COVID, if we're not COVID, then everybody's gonna park and
the drug take back day has been on Arbor Day the last couple of days, but the time doesn't overlap us.
Oh, they were like in the afternoon?
I think they do like 10 to,
No,
Why?
we're like, they didn't know, they were on the same day.
Who do we have to talk to?
Yeah,
yeah.
oh
Well, I
no,
remember the sign out front was
Oh.
drug take back.
that was last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
know.
we didn't have the tree, the Arbor Day thing on the
Listed,
sign.
yeah.
No, I know.
We gotta switch that one.
The police and NCAP take,
It's like,
schedule that.
yeah, the deputy chief lady, I think, is usually in charge of
The
that.
thing is, you could go any day and drop off the drugs.
Yeah, you can.
But do you know how
Yeah.
much they collect on drugs that day? Niskuna, in previous years, when I've seen a table of what's collected, Niskuna collects almost as much as a jail.
Okay.
And on their one
Just on the
day,
one day.
yeah,
But like I just dropped some stuff off the other day, you know, some of the.
some people don't know we.
I didn't know that you could drop off.
Yeah, it's right under the, it's
No,
right
it's
under,
not.
No, it's by the police
It's in
department
the
now.
police court now.
They changed it, yeah.
Oh. There's a big sign on it.
oh, okay. You know, it's definitely not under the stairs.
I don't know what they do with it when you put it in there.
It's incinerated.
Yeah, so the first time I went there, I asked them, should I take it out of the containers? And they said, no, they'll just burn it all anyway. And then I walked away and thought, that means they're burning the plastic container.
Well, I
Pretty
think
sure.
it's like super incinerated, like super incinerated. But you can take it, you can just put them in like
The
plastic.
second time I just dumped it.
Oh, you did?
I think.
No, it doesn't really matter. They just take that container, put it somewhere else and it just gets incinerated.
They standardize the boxes that go to the incinerator.
Yeah.
And the container downstairs does not have the hole in that
That's why they
standard.
moved it.
So they bought a new standardized one and put it in the police
It's
department.
fine. They don't
it's
even
very
know where
narrow to
the
stuff the stuff in. I had it in the middle of that. Yes, exactly. I had to kind of readjust the bag I had to get it.
Yeah. I love the volcano mulching exhibit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And other
And
stations.
we have to, you know, that just triggered my thing. We always talk about this after Arbor Day. We gotta advertise better next year.
We need to get it in the paper. And have a
Well-
report come.
Yeah.
We didn't have a shortage of people last year. Everything's. It's
Yeah,
a
we were
weird
getting
thing.
out early.
We didn't have any press
Yeah, it
coverage
wasn't,
of
in
it.
it wasn't
like-
in my Niskuna, in the Niskuna spotlight or anything. And we didn't-
It's because a bunch of people said it's the best Arbor Day that they've ever been to, but didn't get.
The other thing was in the paper about Arbor Day and it's like.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, I gotta fix that.
Or with the volcano mulching thing, we might be able to get pictures of good tree bottoms and weed whacker bottoms, bark
Yeah.
images. What's a
Well,
healthy
that's like the
bark?
grass growing up and one that's weed whacked that have the, which of these is a better?
The way it's proper.
It's kind of interesting. You may not even think about it. If you took pictures of some weed whacked trees and said, what caused this damage? People might think like insects or whatever, and they'd be like, nope, that's you. Weed whacking your trees.
So that could be what caused this damage and a couple different damage types.
Yeah.
And then an explanation, oh, this is weed whack, this is actually bugs.
Yeah, we could have some pictures from what the gypsy moths did. The spongy moth.
Yeah, and like,
Because some people didn't get it, and so they may want to know what all it was about. I don't know if we got any pictures.
and like,
I saw some pretty damaged trees, but
you know how that emerald ash borer does those funky tracks like the wood? You might even
Yeah.
get a picture. I might even be able to get some over there because that was all killed by emerald ash. Or I might be able to just pull it out of there.
So
Because I think it's cool, like if you actually like set it up in the ground, people are gonna like come over and look at it.
but that would be a good show and tell
Yeah.
with the flip up. This is you with weed whacking, and killing the tree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's have,
This is the emerald ash borer, a bug that's shouldn't be there.
which you actually can't even tell.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as obvious.
Okay.
And stuff.
And with the big bear, how to read the book and get a prize. And I wrote down the Goose Chase app. I'm gonna see how it works.
Yeah,
There
have a
is
look.
sometimes there's free versions and paid versions.
Well, it says if it's a small group, like 3 or less teens, it could be free.
I will check because we use it in class at Union in biology, and I don't think we paid for it, but I'll check on how they
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it'd be cool if we could use something like that, because that would save us a lot of work and it'd be fun. And people like apps on their phone.
Mhm.
And it's better for them than doom scrolling, so it'll be good for their brains.
You guys, I'm gonna have to go. But-
Yeah, we should,
Thank you.
Okay,
yeah.
Do you want to make a motion to adjourn, Leo?
I move we adjourn.
Gonna-
everyone, in favor? Okay,
Okay, so we have a lot to do between the.
All right, thank you.
Oh, but we should have the same booths. I mean, like I should start reaching out
yeah,
to some of the
yeah.
same booths that we had last year.
I don't think we had a single bad booth. Yeah, they were.